Good morning, everybody. Hi, I'm very happy to be here on the first day of the new moon starting today. And that was a dark, dark night last night with no moon at all. Um, but here we are, ready to trend our new month. Um, I go by the moons for months. It's the time to start new trend and new habits and new dropping off of old habits that we want to do, try to give us a little bit of support for that effort. So, are the things that I want to stop doing or get rid of, do less of today so that I can trend that pattern for the whole month? Um, but that's private. It's probably my personal stuff I don't want to share because by mentioning it or talking about it, I may be taking away the power and strength that I have to actually perform the denial of those things. Um, so I think that it kind of takes the power out of it when you go around telling everybody, "Oh, I quit smoking" the first day that you quit or the second day. Um, that's something you really got to hold inside of you. Keep as much because you need all that power, you need all that determination, all that energy to be able to quit drinking or smoking or compulsive sexing or texting or porn or whatever it is that you're doing, um, that you feel or that is abusive to your system. And it could be sugary sweets. It could be snacking for 4 hours, salty snacks while watching too much TV and not doing any kind of projects that you have always dreamt or wanted to do, not pursuing your dreams or your goals in life. So, again, I'm saying you, I mean me, all the time. So don't take it personally when I do that. It's, I guess, my effort to try to help you instead of actually curing the problem within myself. So you'll find that when I speak to people and put things in a personal perspective, applying it to myself, they're more readily to accept and apply it to themselves than if I were to be like a preacher on a platform saying, you need to do this and you need to do that. No, if I see that these things exist, then it means I need to do it. It's inside of me that is happening if I perceive it, because I'm obviously vibrating at that level that allows me to see it. This is why people think there's no God, because when I'm not resonating at the frequency, the God frequency of love and complete limitlessness and power and freedom and joy and all these wonderful aspects, when when I'm not resonating at that vibration, how can I be in communion with it? How can it see me? How can it do anything with me or for me if I haven't raised myself to the frequency of it? So right now, let's talk about the slave and master words used in many ancient texts, and especially also in the Bible and Torah, um, and what that might mean. Because really, I know I don't want to live in a world where it's full of slave and master relationships. However, this is the relationship that we are in right now with our own egos and our own bodies. Am I going to be the slave to my egoistic desires, to my animal cravings, to my animal body with all of its survival needs and its other ego needs that it wants? Will I be the slave and it be the master? Or will I make that body and that ego a slave to the creator, which is my divine eternal essence, my spiritual nature inside of me and all around me? It's everything. So there will always be a slave and master relationship, but which one do we want to have? Shall we have the one where we really don't have a choice but to react as animals, or the one where we see things from a higher perspective and we control the animal body and we just use it and its perceptions um, without letting it control us? And this way we can seek the higher senses, the spiritual senses, that will then open up the ability to really make changes in the physical realm, changes inside of us that will affect the entire physical realm. That's another thing I wanted to brief upon without making this video too long, is how we can affect change in the world starting with this month. Well, raising our vibration to the frequencies of the Creator and whatever you imagine that to be. It's certainly not a frequency of hate and anger and emotionalism and despair. Well, there might be a little bit of that in there, but and I don't know everything for sure. You know, I'm not. I've always said that I don't have strong opinions because they're likely to change all the time. So why invest in an opinion? Let's be open to receiving guidance on a minute by second basis from the eternal universal knowledge bank, not from our ego monkey brain, ego-driven monkey brains that, you know, want to cling to a belief as long as it can, even when that belief isn't working for it. So letting go of the ideas that we've formed of reality is also a very important exercise to do and to be open. And I find meditation to be extremely helpful in that regard. And then practicing rising above. When we're done meditating, we're going out into the world and we start seeing all of these things that don't resonate with our higher self and that want to incite an emotional response in us of fear or anger or injustice, rage at injustice, and rage at this and rage at that. And we're all going to rage ourselves into a big giant raging war with one another when it's really ourself, our ego, that needs to be put in its place and enslaved to our upper true eternal one, our upper existence, our eternal existence, our Creator within. The new moon, decide how we're going to live from this point on, and let's do it. I know it's very hard not to repost and share things on social media because some people have such an eloquent way of writing things that really tell the clear story. And you think, well, this one's going to get through to my friends over here that are kind of on that tangent. This one explains everything so clearly, they're finally going to see why I'm so upset by what's going on. And so I got to share it with them. And then all you get back are just more blindness and more ignorance and more lashing out and hurting one another and more rage. And yeah, there might be a time for action, but unless we do the actions within, all those actions that we can do on the outside are not going to change things. So let's try to remember that. Yes, you still need to do your things to take care of yourself in this world. You got to go, you know, get things that you need to survive, your food and your shelter and your clothing and your education and your health care and your everything else that you need to do, which means, you know, voting and all those other aspects of this world. But let's keep the higher, true, eternal self in mind the whole time and let it be the ruling master of our lives. This is the question for today in the new moon to ponder. Who is the ruler of my life? Is it my temporary ego, mind, monkey brain body with its 5 senses, or is it my higher self with a large, vast array of spiritual senses that we haven't even learned how to use or tap into yet? And how am I going to get out of the slavery of the body, of the ego, which can be called Satan or the devil, because there is none else besides the Creator. There's no other entity. But we make those hell on earth things through our living through ego, living through our temporary bodies as the prime master. I hope this kind of clears things up a little bit. It does for me. I had to keep reminding myself constantly because my physical desires are extremely strong in this life. So there's a lot of overcoming, a lot of work to do for everyone. And I know that we can do it together, okay? Together we can get this done, and then we can have fun. Love you. Have an awesome, awesome new month. Bye.